Hi there. My name is Dan St. Pierre, and welcome back to All One, the United Anatomy of Being. This episode is really a preface to the primary content of the series, and will be followed by 4 videos containing some basic prerequisite information before we really dive into the primary content and some insightful, fun, and hopefully, for some of you, enlightening information. But first, life is not easy. It is not easy for any living being, and it never has been. Even for humans who view their lives in the most optimistic manner, have faced challenges and extremely difficult times. And looking back from the early days of humanity, we have come a very long way as a species. Many difficulties have been diminished on the most basic physical level of our being, the level on which consciousness first began for our species. Before the development of the mind, and even well into the development of the mind, humans struggled on this level simply to survive. They had to roam to find food to eat and water to drink. They had to find protection from the elements. They had to face wild animals that could harm or even eat them. And they had to face potentially violent encounters with other humans. This was the way of life for hundreds of thousands of years for Homo sapiens, millions of years for hominids, and tens to hundreds of millions of years for other species. But life keeps evolving and progressing. Along the way, human predecessors and humans began to slowly progress toward a new and expanded level of existence through the slow activation of mind consciousness and mental development. And this was new for life on Earth that initiated a massive change in our physical level existence and experience. Early hominids picked up rocks and sticks and learned that they were useful. They could do more with them than without them. Early Homo sapiens further developed the use of tools and learned how to better obtain food and protect themselves from the elements. They learned how to better defend themselves, even against the fiercest and much larger animal predators. They learned about fire, its positive effects on defense, protection, food sources, and overall survival, and even learned how to create it. They discovered and learned agriculture and animal husbandry, or how to create and nurture food sources to rely less and less on roaming to find it. And they eventually united in larger groups beyond the nuclear family into clans, tribes, villages, towns, and cities, thus even further increasing the probabilities of survival and the ability to succeed and flourish as a species. Now, this is a general characterization of the biggest challenges for early human or human-like beings, because there were others. But nonetheless, these were true basic challenges that had to be faced and in some sense solved to survive as a species in a continually developing manner. Of course, these basic fundamental physical challenges still exist for some humans across the planet, but now it's for different reasons than in our prehistory. For example, many around the globe still struggle to eat or unfortunately starve, but it's not because there's not enough food on the planet. Anyway, generally speaking, humans have moved past many, if not most, of the basic fundamental physical challenges for survival. And it was not because of a lucky or fortunate change in the physical environment. It was due to the activation, development, and consciousness of a new level of being beyond the physical, where our species first began, and where most animals still exist and operate today. Humans began to think and solve problems, and it was the continual development of the mind and knowledge accumulation that diminished or eliminated these most basic physical challenges. While everything in physical existence is more than just physical, most physical things are not aware of it and do not have the capacity for awareness of it, at least as far as we currently know as humans. But the capacity for awareness is as different for human beings compared to any other life form of which we are aware as the difference in the human capacity for thought compared to any other species. And at some point long ago, humans, and to a lesser extent, human predecessors, changed or evolved and became more than just physical beings. We as a species entered the mental level of being, or maybe said better, we slowly expanded onto the mental level of being in addition to, but not replacement of, our conscious existence as physical level beings. So to be more accurate, it's not that we were only physical level beings before that. We just had no consciousness or awareness of a mental level, meaning it wasn't available to utilize. But slowly, our brains grew, our knowledge grew, and our understanding of how the physical world works increased. Thus, our physical experience and existence changed and improved. The development into mental level beings directly affected our physical level of being. And this developmental process of mental expansion, knowledge acquisition, improved understanding, and really its direct effect on our physical existence has been slowly ongoing since hominids first picked up a stick, if not earlier. It was accelerated and has been slowly ongoing since hominids and Homo sapiens began drawing on cave walls. And it was further accelerated and has been more rapidly ongoing since humans discovered agriculture. And it will be ongoing for as long as humans exist. And of course, there are still physical level problems and challenges in our lives, but they are different now than they were long ago, and are largely created in two primary ways. The first is from collective physical actions as a direct result of our mental development that have resulted in new physical level problems. Examples are war, industrialization, pollution, deforestation, ozone depletion, overpopulation, climate change, inequality, and unnecessary poverty. The second is from actual mental level problems, difficulties, and challenges as a direct result of our mental development. And examples of these are desiring power, desiring wealth, constantly wanting more, unacceptance or wanting what isn't, depression, mental illness, greed, hatred, and intolerance, which can all and have all contributed to the new physical level problems that I had just mentioned. And both of these new physical level and mental level challenges for survival are still expanding, with solutions far from yet determined or available. But the body and mind are not the only two levels of being, nor the only two levels of our existence. Humans also exist on a heart or feeling center level, and on a soul or non-physical or pure being level. In fact, we and everything physical in the universe exist both physically and non-physically. Everything also exists on energetic levels that, from the simplest and most fundamental perspective, can be categorized as uniting and separating. And these two energy types can be respectfully referred to as the heart and mind levels, even if no tools exist for consciousness or awareness of them. But humans have the direct tools of perception for consciousness or awareness of the universe's energetic levels through the tools of our heart and our mind. And they enable us to interpret and even direct energies with a level of benefit that is directly correlated to our mind and heart consciousness. It may not be difficult to accept that the mind operates on an energetic level that affects our physical level experience, because even if we don't think of it in this context, it's been happening for thousands and thousands of years, and it's happening right now, every day. It may be more difficult to comprehend or believe that we are as non-physical as we are physical, or that we have the consciousness capability to perceive, interpret, understand, and again, even direct the energies in between the physical and non-physical levels of existence. This might be as difficult to conceive or perceive as a human 40,000 years ago perceiving or conceiving of an existence with readily available fields of cultivated fruits and vegetables, or pastures full of goats and sheep ready to eat at any moment. It might be as difficult as a human 500 years ago conceiving or perceiving our 21st century lives with cars, skyscrapers, airplanes, televisions, computers, and cell phones. But it has all come to be. It all is. And there is still so much yet to come for humans on the physical and mental levels. But there's even more to come for humans on the heart and soul levels. Just as we could not have solved the basic fundamental survival challenge of physical existence over the past hundreds of thousands of years without consciousness and development of the mind, again, we will not well solve the current and newly coming physical and mental survival challenges of existence without consciousness and development of the heart and soul levels. And generally speaking, humans know less about our heart level compared to what we know about our physical and mental levels. Also, generally speaking, we know next to nothing about our non-physical or soul level to the point of not even believing it exists. This is very natural because the physical and energetic mental levels are much more obvious to us, and both have dominance in this physical level realm, and therefore are the most easy to experience. It's also quite easy to accept that the body is more obvious than the mind, or said differently, the mind is more subtle than the body. We can touch, see, hear, smell, or even taste much of the physical world, but we can't see or hear or touch our thoughts. But we accept that we have them and that the mental level exists. The heart and soul levels are even more subtle because, unlike the body and the mind, they don't have dominance in this physical level realm. They have dominance in the non-physical realm. You know, we accept that we have feelings, but we know less about them or the source of them than we do our thoughts. And the heart level is more difficult to understand and grasp than the physical or mental level because it is more subtle. And then the soul, or our non-physical level, is the most subtle. It is the most intangible and seems to be more of a concept to be believed rather than a state that can be experienced. Therefore, the soul level of our existence is the least experienced and the most doubted. But we do exist on these four levels, whether we are aware of it or not. And just as human beings over the millenniums either stumbled upon various types of knowledge or worked relentlessly to develop the mind, solve problems, and gain knowledge, some individuals over the millenniums have stumbled upon the heart and soul levels, or consciousness of them, or worked to develop consciousness or awareness of them. And just as knowledge was shared among humans over the millenniums to the benefit of all other individuals or all of humanity, and new knowledge will of course continue to be shared among humans well into the future for the benefit of other individuals and all of humanity, the path to awareness of the heart and soul levels and the benefit from this awareness has been and will continue to be shared even more and more as time goes on for both the benefit of individuals and all humanity. And this development will lead to more to the diminishment of current human problems, challenges, and difficulties than further development of the mind. We already have consciousness of our mind and are very well into or deep into the mind level of our existence. But just as human capability on the physical level could not have continued to expand without the development of the mind, our collective mental capability and development will eventually slow in growth without development of our next level of existence, the heart. And then even eventually, our growth potential from heart level consciousness will slow without eventual development of soul or unity consciousness. This path toward development and consciousness of the heart and soul levels is often, again, referred to as spirituality. And the point of this series is to demonstrate and explain the anatomy of being, particularly the lesser known heart and soul levels, to increase awareness and understanding of the whole of our being. Human activation and consciousness of the heart and soul levels is naturally inevitable if we do not perish as a species prior to reaching the apex of our existence. But accepting it is a bit forward-looking from where we have been and where we are right now. And without really comparing the modern human to a prehistoric one, heart and soul level consciousness or awareness, in some respects, is forward enough looking that attempting to explain it is almost like trying to explain to a human 500 years ago that cars, computers, cell phones, and space travel are possible. But imagine the hope, excitement, and accelerated growth at that time if they knew these things were not only possible, but were undoubtedly coming. So, this series will demonstrate how we exist on these various levels, what one will begin to learn as they develop the less obvious and more subtle heart and soul levels within themselves, what is possible for humanity when this happens, and what is possible for human individuals when this happens, and how to begin directly experiencing all that we really are. In the process, some age-old human questions will be explored, such as who are we, why are we, is there a God and what is it, and where are we heading? Which, by the way, can be very optimistic. To be clear, there's likely nothing new in this series that hasn't been experienced before by other human beings. There's likely nothing new here that hasn't already been said or written over the centuries in some form by mystics, meditators, sages, religious scholars, or spiritual philosophers. What might be new is the presentation of the material. As I've said, in my experience, it has taken decades of reading, research, contemplation, and meditation to connect the dots from the knowledge of many various sources, both ancient and contemporary, and then integrated with direct personal experience. And again, it is the hope that this series will accelerate an understanding for those interested in greater awareness of our full existence and highly improved opportunities for happiness. But before diving in, there are a few prerequisite topics that, if understood, will contribute to a better understanding, or at least diminished confusion or difficulty in understanding some of the forthcoming key knowledge. So please join me for episode 3, where we'll explore the source of human knowledge. I thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.